Here he comes. That's what you call healthy wild salmon. The only salmon that should be available. Salmon farms are killing off these wild salmon. Don't kid yourself about that fact. You can use your voice one day to stop salmon farms in British Columbia. You gotta do it. Save these fish. Oh, there he goes, right at the top. Damn. Can't catch him all. Lucky fish. Okay, the wood stove's melting the shit out of me. So I'm going to read this one more and get out of here. Hopefully this weather clears up and I get back in the mountains. It's only been a couple days and I'm already going kind of nuts. I can't stampede inside. I just can't. There's too many beautiful places around here in the mountains to show off too. So, listen to this one. What do we got? Hey Steve. Firstly, thank you for your courage and grasping running with this topic. History may prove that you have been instrumental in enlightening populations what our governments have been attempting to hide for decades. It may change the way many of us view politics and the world for sure. Many ordinary people like me look beyond the information we're fed, which is only ever based on current knowledge. And again, history clearly shows us all there is a significant lag between what is seen and what is understood. In the latter part of my 64 years, I've developed an interest in areas of the unknown, aided like so many by the emergence of information sharing technology in the last 3 decades. I've had an interest in this particular subject after I stumbled across Scott Carpenter's Truth Denied. And I've been a subscriber to Scott, David Plias, and your channel ever since. Whilst there's many other channels that cover this topic, yours stands out like a beacon. So many others seem to just roll stories around the block again and again, only interested in raising their own profile without really considering the impact of the many life-changing events as a consequence of the cover-up by our governments. Unlike many contributors to your channel, hunters in particular, I've never hunted or spent time in the wilderness. My name is John Knowles, and to be in fact, I live in the UK. So our exposure to any sort of wilderness is probably confined to the Highlands of Scotland. Gotta close that door. My brief experience, whilst unlike the physical evidence seen by many which watch your channel, may be considered as insignificant by others, but was very significant to me and my wife. Last September, my son was married in Las Vegas, and my wife and I thought it would be a great opportunity to have a trip to Canada afterwards. We flew up to Calgary and picked up an SUV for a trip to Banff, Jasper, Sun Peaks, and Vancouver. It was never our intention to go find Sasquatch. It never is. Trust me. After all, what would be the chance to be in a continent where many have spent all their lives in the outdoors and never seen anything untoward? We merely wanted to appreciate the vast territory that can harbor such a creature, whose evolution requires that it should largely avoid contact with Homo sapiens in order to survive. We took a detour en route from Banff to Jasper, following the David Thompson Highway towards Nordegg. Thanks to satellite imagery, I haphazardly picked a gravel track off the main highway towards Crescent Falls Recreation Area. We chuckled at Abraham Lake as we drove past with a sign cartoon Bigfoot saying, "Welcome to our backyard." Just a couple miles on the gravel track from the main highway, we pulled into a parking area next to a viewpoint overlooking the river in the deep canyon, thinking we were at least somewhere off the beaten track. We were a bit disappointed to see a yellow school bus parked there. So much for our off the beaten track idea. However, the kids were just leaving, so we'd at least have some peace and quiet. We trekked for a while along the footpath, amazed at the beauty of this peaceful place. Upon returning to the parking area, and emboldened by the recent purchase of some bear spray, I managed to persuade my wife to head into the deeper woods, and we spotted a trail leading off the gravel road. Just a few yards into the woods, we were surprised to see a pair of orange Y fronts, comparatively placed in the middle of the narrow trail. Orange Y fronts. Okay, I'm going to guess that's a branch and a Y. Placed in the middle of the narrow trail. I laughed and said, I don't think we're in the wilderness yet. Oh. Orange Y fronts. That's got to be some human clothing then, in Canadian. No more than 100 yards further along the trail, I spotted a strange pattern of trees some 20 yards off to the right. It was tough going underfoot, just getting there, but when we did, we were shocked. A 25-foot tree had been completely bent over, and its top thrust deeply into the forest floor, so deep that it wasn't going to spring back. I heaved on it, but couldn't move it at all. It must have been pushed in at least 2 feet. Underneath this was a teepee of several smaller trees about 6 inches in diameter and 10 feet in length. The ends that I could see had been snapped off. More amazingly was a 20-foot tree, 6 inches in diameter, that had been threaded through the arch and the teepee, perfectly horizontal and several feet off the ground. It was very rough going underfoot, with deadfall and thick moss, but no obvious sign of a disturbance. I was so engrossed by this that I got my camera out and struggled to move around the site taking photographs. My wife was about 15 yards away when she said, "Quick, did you hear that growl? Let's get out of here now." I was so absorbed in taking photos, I thought the sound was someone nearby trying to unsuccessfully start a chainsaw, but there was only one pull and it never started. In an instant, the word changed from, "Wow, look at this," to "Get the F out of here." We never saw or looked at anything, only concentrating on heading back to the SUV ASAP, and we didn't hang around to find out. As unsuspecting tourists, we were both shocked and surprised at the sequence of events. I suppose the moral of the story is, be careful for what you wish for. Okay, man, thanks for that, and I guess you probably figured it out. Those sort of things go on around over here quite often, right? Just all there is to it. And that's all I have, about all I can really say and touch on for the tree structures. I don't have much concern for them. I might go to a place that I found a handful of years ago. There's probably about a dozen different cedar trees that are upwards of 40 feet long, and no branches on them, poles, 40 even longer than that, and no stumps nearby, and they're all in the middle of a massive patch of never logged before fir, and they're all standing up in between the branches of this big fir tree all the way around it. It is what it is. I don't pay too much attention to it. After you've seen these things, you know there's shit going on up there, and I don't really shrug it off. I just take note, right? But I might go back in there and videotape it for you guys one day for the hell of it when I'm in the neighborhood. Let's get one more out here. Hi, Steve. I started watching your channel over a year ago, and I'm fascinated by the encounters that you read. I myself have never had an encounter and don't want one. This email is for a different cause. I think you're a real stand-up guy, and what you're doing is not only selfless, but is needed on many levels. Not many people are willing to able to put themselves in harm's way. Being hard-working, everyday person like yourself, I took an initiative to help out in some way. This may help you or may not. I hope it does. If no harm, no foul. Oh. Alright, that's not Sasquatch story related. Okay. Hey Steve, this is a detailed account of our short story about an incident that happened 19 years ago. I sent this draft by mistake. Thanks for your YouTube channel and joining together of people. I want to offer some support and appreciation for you, being a voice of integrity and truth. I might add, I sense compelling sense of love, compassion, and empathy. My name is Michelle Bloker. I'm 65 years old, retired police officer and public servant. I live in Eastern Oregon near the Wallowa Mountains. I share this with you so you know I am not throwing any patronizing bullshit at you. I was raised in Portland, Oregon, very poor, and grew up with some of the terms city, feral, wild. Developed and got in touch with what you have called instinct or sixth sense very early. I allowed the sixth sense to save my life, though more times than I can count. My story starts in the spring of 2001. My partner Tim, I, 2 border collies set up base camp at Doug Bar in the Snake River. It's a 3-hour drive from home, most of which is primitive 1-lane dirt road. We set up from there to investigate and photograph old pictographs at the site of a Chinese massacre in the 1800s. The site is located at the conveyance of a deep creek and the Snake River. I'm not sure how much history I should share regarding the massacre, so I won't unless you request. My partner is a veteran, and our 2 dogs were border collies, not working cattle dogs, but no wild things. I am of Ojibwe Swede mixed descent. Both my partner and I are avid outdoors people and do not scare easily. The trail is rough from the base camp to where we wanted to go, approximately 3 miles of bushwhacking along the Snake River's edge, acknowledging of the remnants of 9,000 year sustained Nez Perce homelands from years ago along the trail. The trail was pretty rough, and we arrived at the site where we wanted to go in the early afternoon. To share, I was given protected information that in the area of the Deep Creek Massacre site was an archaeological site that had been ransacked and devastated. We wanted to document that site also. Upon arrival, we set up a small tent on a knoll by the edge of the Snake River in Deep Creek. We photographed the pictographs and explored about the area. Evening came soon as the canyon is rather deep. We settled in the small tent with 2 50-pound dogs and 2 adults. We had traveled with light packs and were both carrying handguns. Our large mistake in the trip was forgetting our large flashlights. We only had 2 tiny flashlights. At the early hours, about 2 to 3 a.m., there was a sequence of 3 oboe-like tones, then silence. In another hour or so, it happened again, and then in about another hour, it happened again, for the last time a total of 3 segments. This is very similar to an account you previously read from someone else, which has caught my attention for my story. We both drew our weapons. The dogs were tense on alert, with noses next to the door of the tent. No barks, unusual. The air was clear of any other sound. During the second sequence of the sound, Zora dog crept along my side and lay flat and silent at our heads. There has been times when out hiking when the usual would be for Hobbs to lead, then Zora, then Tim and I, or just one of us. When they sensed danger, they would both immediately fall behind the last person on the trail. That includes rattlesnakes and unseen threats. Hobbs' dog had his nose beneath the bottom portion of the zipper in the tent. He made a low, deep growl and then let out a sharp bark. This is completely out of the normal for him. In the span of his 15 years of life, I don't recall him growling ever. Of course, there was no sleep. Neither of us spoke during the event, but exchanged telling looks and gestures. Shallow breathing. At daybreak, we broke camp and got the frick out of there. Hiked back to our base camp, broke camp, and headed home. Upon arriving home, I listened to all my birds' calls I had on CDs from Stokes. I talked to my other bird animal knowledgeable friends, and nothing matched up with what we heard in Deep Creek. The area has its share of deer, elk, snakes, cougar, bobcats, bear, and all their wildlife that inhabit, and all their. The area has its share of deer, elk, snakes, cougar, bobcats, bear, and all their wildlife that inhabit the remote area. A few months later, I was at an outing with several Nez Perce elder women. I shared my story with them and they asked me if I felt fear. I told them I did. After a few minutes of discussion between themselves, the elders told me it was good that I did not go to investigate because I would have not come back and I would have lost my soul. They described the beings that sent the sounds as stick people. Never went back to that area. Please feel free to share our story. Feel free to contact me if you want. And again, thank you very much. Be safe, be well, and be happy. Sincerely, Michelle Bloker. Thanks, Michelle. I hope I didn't butcher your story too much from my awkward reading. I'm kind of beat right now. This is the last one for me this evening. But, you know what? It is what it is. And I think what you did is the right thing, is contact the elder Native people. They're going to fill you in probably more clearly than anybody has. And that goes for all of you out there. If you do have the trust and respect of some elder Native First Nations people here in North America somewhere, just go talk to them and get honestly filled in by them. All right? They know a lot more than we do. Always have. And a quick side note, if I can, I want to share with you guys something that's forwarded to me. It's from a guy, I can't remember the channel right now, but you'll see it when I post it up. There's a guy, he's in Alaska, and he looks for gold and treasure, and he had something scare the living crap out of him and make some intimidating noise towards him and throw stuff at him during one of his YouTube episodes. So I'll throw that little segment of that up on here, and you can see the link to his channel. Go check it out for yourself. And if that doesn't put you right there with all these people that are emailing us in with the exact same experience, nothing much else will. Okay, there's your clear audio of what he heard and his reaction, the scene, the setting, and as you can see, it can be a very, very unnerving experience to hear those sounds while you're alone in the wilderness, whether it be dark or broad daylight. It doesn't matter. All right, but go ahead and check that out. And again, Michelle, thanks for that email. And who knows, we'll have to take up that offer of contacting you again sometime in the future. But until then, be safe and make sure you share all of your knowledge with as many people as you can, especially the young people. Okay? It's very, very important.
Well, it's getting dark on me. Down to my last target. Looks like a little wood, or... What's that? Whoa, did you guys hear that? It sounded like something howling. Still hear it. Sweet little box. Boy, that freaked me out. Ugh. All right, so I'm working my way back. Whoa, did you hear that? Oh man, something just threw something in the water right beside me. Oh, jeez. All right, guys, let's get out of here. They just threw something else in the water just now. All right, I'm finally getting close to the road. Ooh, that scared the crap out of me.